Now, Little Big Planet is a franchise that you probably haven't heard about for quite some time. The PlayStation 3 hasn't always been regarded as the best console, but at that period of time, Little Big Planet was something that helped Sony sort of stand out in the console wars. They've had 3 main games released on the PS3 and PS4. They came out in 2008, 2011, and 2014, so about 3 years apart between all 3 of them. It was just overall a great, fun, goofy, cute, beautiful platforming game. It was just a 2D or 2.5D puzzle-solving platformer. It really was great. It really did help the PS3 stand out. A lot of people have fond memories of this franchise. Now, as I mentioned, Little Big Planet 3, the most recent installment, came out 10 years ago. Now, since then, they've had a few spin-offs that did okay, but to date, the 3rd installment is the most recent, so naturally it's the one that most people have been playing. Now, something big, something very important to understand about the Little Big Planet games is that you could make your own levels, and this was a big part of these games. And of course, over the past 10 years, people have been really making this on Little Big Planet 3. If you did make custom levels in 1 and 2, you could actually import them to 3. So naturally, there are tons of levels, tons of custom stages that have been made that are in the sort of cloud, the online server of Little Big Planet 3. I was trying to actually look up an exact number of how many levels really are in Little Big Planet 3. I can't find that number. I can find an article from VentureBeat back in 2012, which was a year after Little Big Planet 2 came out, and that said at the time that there were 6 million custom levels that had been made. I can only imagine that after 12 years, there have been a ton more, probably like over 10 million, maybe 20 million. And so with these games that have custom creator-made levels, there are just a ton of hours that are poured into making these levels, all by people who aren't getting any money from it. They just love the enjoyment of making these levels and having them online in the sort of cloud to let people play them. Yeah, custom levels and the online portion of Little Big Planet is probably bigger than the campaign itself. Now, something else to know is that in 2021, 3 years ago, there was a DDoS attack that resulted in the servers of the PlayStation 3 version of Little Big Planet 3 to get taken offline. That was pretty unfortunate, but obviously, people could play the PS4 version. The PS3 version was a bit outdated. But fast forward to January of this year, so about 3 months ago, specifically January 8th, the online servers of Little Big Planet 3 were taken offline, and at the time it was said that this was due to a technical issue. Now, over the past 3 months since then, I can't find anything that specifically confirms this. I don't have a PS4 or a PS5, but I believe they have been offline ever since then, which is obviously terrible, but it was very much expected by fans that it was going to get revived. Well, today, April 20th, there has been a very big, very unfortunate announcement by the studio behind Little Big Planet, and that is that these servers are going to remain offline indefinitely. Meaning that if you have levels that are stored locally on your console, those are fine, but the majority of the levels that are stored online, those have been wiped completely. Now, like I said, all of these custom levels have been imported from Little Big Planet 1 and 2, meaning that I could say this is 10 years worth of work, worth of levels that have been wiped, and I actually put that in the thumbnail of this video that I already made. But what is more accurate to say is that actually 16 years worth of work has now been wiped. And even if you have stuff locally on your console, there is no way to share it online. And with that, we've kind of just gotten a very vague explanation for it. On the tweet they posted today, they basically just said that this is a decision that they reached due to the server issues that they had 3 months ago. It doesn't really say anything beyond that. My guess is that, in their opinion, it's going to take too much time and money and resources to fix this technical problem and bring back these servers. This is very much to the dismay of fans, of players. A lot of people online have not been reacting very kindly to this, and I do not blame them. At a time where we now have movements like the Stop Killing Games movement, and just more of a general awareness that this seems to be happening a lot now with games where they just get wiped, people have been voicing their displeasure with this decision. I mean, it truly is the end of an era, and like I said, this is the most recent Little Big Planet game. I don't know if they're going to come out with a Little Big Planet 4. I mean, this just, in a way, this kind of ruins the franchise. I'm not saying you can't repair it. I'm not saying you can't bring back, a sort of sequel, but I just don't think it would be the same. You're going to have people that are going to say, hey, why would I waste my time pouring hours into another custom level when it could just get wiped in another 10 years? I get that they have to weigh their options with money, I truly do. But like I said, this is just ending a franchise for them, essentially. A franchise that has, like I said, helped Sony really stand out when it comes to good platformer games. This is a game you couldn't get on any other console or on PC. I remember at one point it even made me consider getting a PS3. And this is especially frustrating too because this came all without any warning. We had the Super Mario Maker that was canceled recently. It was brought offline by Nintendo. But for that, players had months to prepare. In this case, they had no time to prepare. So yeah, definitely a shame shame, and now I have to wonder, what is the long-term plan now for Little Big Planet, or even, is there a plan?